Thank you. Now we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Council, I would like to propose that we amend tonight's agenda. We had a presentation planned, but our police chief is not with us tonight, and so I would like to remove presentations from the agenda. Otherwise, that's my motion to approve an amended agenda.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Second.
Oh, we got another second?
Third.
Okay.
All right.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. We have an agenda. Thank you. Consent agenda. We have some minutes that were emailed from the May meeting, I believe. And we have a resolution in opposition to offshore drilling, seismic testing, and leasing, which is on page 2 of your packet, and which is something that we already submitted comments in the form of a letter to meet the deadline for June 16th for public comment. Of course, there's a long process that's involved with this issue, and so there will be other opportunities to comment, but we do want to be proactive and adopt a resolution in opposition, along with all of our fellow elected governments here in Dare and Currituck counties. And then we have a resolution about ferry tolls, opposition to ferry tolls in the consent agenda. Is there any discussion about the consent agenda?
My only discussion is that I'm in favor of passing all three of these, particularly the opposition to offshore drilling. But, you know, we pass these resolutions, and then I wonder where they go. And I'd like to make sure that these resolutions go somewhere. And I would suggest, if everybody agrees, that the resolution in opposition to offshore drilling be sent to Murphy, Tillis, and Budd, and the opposition to ferry tolls be sent to at least Hainig and Goodwin, just to let them know that we're in support of these resolutions.
Very good. Council, anybody have any objections to that suggestion? Staff, are you guys comfortable with that? Very good. All right. In that case, can I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. We have approved the consent agenda. So now we're going to move on to staff reports. We have our first one is from our Deputy Town Manager and Planning Director, Mr. Wes Haskett. Good evening, Wes. Good to see you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I have a very brief report for y'all tonight, monthly report. With respect to permits, there were 49 permits issued in the month of June. Those consisted of 4 zoning permits, 19 building permits, 23 trade permits, and 3 lot disturbance stormwater management permits. The total amount of fees that we collected, the Planning and Code Enforcement Department, in the month of June was $9,371.94. And then lastly, the June plan, with respect to the July Planning Board, the meeting is scheduled for July 21st at 5 o'clock. Any questions?
Are there any agenda items yet for the Planning Board meeting?
Not at this time.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Wes? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Now we'll hear from our fire chief, Chief Limbacher. Good to see you, sir, in this warm July weather.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I guess with the police chief not here and Wes being quick, this is a good day where I have kind of a lot, so I won't be killing everybody's time. But so I owe you 2 months' reports. May I was not here for the June meeting, so the May meeting, just running through it, just 1 building fire, 1 trash fire, 54 EMS calls, 1 motor vehicle fire, or 1 motor vehicle accident with injuries, 1 without, 1 hazardous condition, 1 CO, 1 electrical problem, 1 heater defective, power line down, 1 of those, 1 service call, 5 of our beach welfare delivery program, 1 of them for our address sign program, 1 for our smoke detector service program, 1 public service, 11 standby or move-up calls, and 5 dispatch canceled en route. So a lot of those are mutual aid calls that they're calling us off as quick as they can, so we don't take us out of the town if we don't need to. That's why you're getting those 5 versus, maybe 1 or none for the month. So that is the the May report. Is there any questions on that? And the total was 88 for that month. So, and that's about normal for that month. So moving on to June, which was kind of fell apart quick, but 1 passenger vehicle fire, 1 removed victim from stalled elevator, 1 surf rescue, 1 heat short circuit from wiring, 1 public service, 1 assist the police, 1 good intent, 1 dispatch to the wrong location. That happened to be in Kitty Hawk and wasn't ours. 1 smoke scare, 1 CO, 2 motor vehicle accidents with injury, 2 without, 2 of our smoke detector service program, 2 special event, 6 alarms, 4 of our beach wheelchair program, 4 dispatch cancel en route, 5 building fires, 9 cover-ups, and 41 EMS calls for 87. That's actually a little bit light, but I'll take it because it turned ugly quick. So, is there any questions on the actual reports? I got a couple other things I wanted to discuss, like the that happened through the month. Is there any questions just on the reports themselves or anything?
I don't have a question, but I just want to thank you. There was a very serious fire just north of my house, and I have to tell you, it was a great feeling to see those fire trucks. That the house was a total loss, but it was a great feeling to see those fire trucks show up and see the first sprays of water come out. So thanks
Oh,
for the
you're
prompt
welcome.
response.
We're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to try to be not too long-winded here, so I told the mayor if I start to get long-winded, to say, hey, move it along. But so I just wanted to start off by saying, before I get into my report about talking about the fires and all that kind of stuff that happened, the captain's interviews are scheduled for Tuesday the 15th from 8 to 5, and they're an hour interviews. So we'll see what we get there. I'm optimistic, so we'll just see what happens. So I just wanted to start off by saying that, the problem with public safety is it's so unpredictable. And this is, I'll just give you one day in a life. And this obviously doesn't happen all the time, right? There could be days where we have nothing. And then there's other days like this. So I'm just going to give you a rundown of the 18th, which was the day of the 150 Ocean Boulevard, the fire that Councilwoman Sherlock's talking about. So just give you a rundown how it started. Typically, I'm there at 7. At 10:37, we're on EMS call. 12:33, we're on EMS call. At 13:26, we're dispatched to a second alarm fire in Collington. There, we gave them 2 engines in our rehab team. 7 minutes later, we're dispatched to a structure fire in Corolla. Gave them an engine crew for them and still had the ladder in our station for us. 2 hours later, at 15:44, 3:45, we're on a fire alarm on 9th Avenue. At 17:28, we're on a medical call on Foxwood. At 18:25, which is 6:30 just about, we're at 15 Ocean Boulevard for a fire alarm. And then at 18:36, we get dispatched to 150 Ocean Boulevard for the structure fire in our own town. So just pulling up some pictures here, I'll just give you a quick reference. And again, I always preface this by saying, I'm not sensationalizing anybody's tragedy, I'm just presenting information because this is obviously people's worst day. So this is at Collington. And the crews had a really nice stop here. Collington did a great job here. Probably before the majority of the second alarm companies arrived, they had a good stop on it. And you can see when we get to the back picture here, these guys did a pretty phenomenal job. So, still, obviously, a lot of damage to the house, but you're limiting it to your exposure. So, again, the Collington guys and KDH was probably there fairly quickly, did a pretty good job. So, when we got there, it was mostly salvage and overhaul, and we backfilled their station for an hour while they cleaned up. So, just a quick giving you the heads up on that. Hard for me to see here. Can you X out of that for me?
Yeah.
There we go. So we could talk about 150 Ocean Boulevard, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about. There was obviously a lot of challenges. Probably one of the biggest ones in the summertime is the heat. It was nearly 90 degrees, 89.6 degrees to be exact, with a 10-mile-an-hour wind. So obviously those are challenges to us. Just the heat alone for the firefighters dressed out, and then the wind at 10 miles an hour is also can be a pretty big problem. So let me pull up, this is a comparison, and this is giving you a time frame, this picture. Can you blow that up a little bit? So this is, I think it's 7 minutes apart, 8 minutes apart. That's 8 minutes.
Yep, that's what
8
it looked
minutes. That's 8 minutes. So you can see, you know, and part of the challenges here was, and this is no disrespect to anybody. Everybody's doing what they should be doing here, but part of the problems on this are people are saying there's still somebody in there. So when the fire looks like it does on the left, it's not even that big when the police get there and Jay and my deputy chief pulls up. It's barely showing through the roof when they get there, maybe a minute or two earlier, okay? So Sergeant Brinkley walks up. They say, hey, we think there might be somebody in there. He does what anybody would do, what I would do, you know, any policeman would do. He walks up, opens the front door, and yells in there, of course, because the fire is not showing when he opens the door. Well, when he does that, he's on the windward side. So it's just like a blowtorch through it. And by the time he realizes if there is anybody in there, it's untenable for them, he cannot get the door shut. It's burning his arm to even pull the door shut. So right there is what oxygen will do in 8 minutes. So make sure, if you're sleeping in your bedroom or whatever, keep the door closed, because that can't protect you, okay? So you can see how quick it grows. And generally, fire doubles in about every 30 seconds today, you know. So the other thing that occurred, and this is actually the first one I've ever actually witnessed in person. I've seen it training for years. This was a huge thing back in the day when I was just a kid. They were teaching people, but this is what they call a BLEVE. Does anybody know what a BLEVE is in here? It's basically it's called a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion, and it's a technical term for the contents inside a container expanding faster than the container can vent off. And at some point, a weakness is going to happen, it's going to explode. And that's exactly what happens here, and I can show you this. It's about a 10-second video. A bystander gave this to me, so I'm not narrating this, so just, deal with me for a second here. But so if you just watch it for a second.
Oh. It only took seconds. I'd say less than a minute for that thing to go up. You saw smoke at the top, and then all of a sudden you heard a pop, and everything went. There it goes again.
Now, obviously, that's not helpful. And extremely, extremely dangerous to the firefighters. Here's basically what exploded. It amounted to be a 250-pound propane tank, and then it just finds a weak spot and it explodes. Now, luckily here, two things that saved us were very good and didn't get anybody hurt on the fire ground. Is the ICJ, which noticed it on his 360, had his command staff, and can you open that back up? I still have a couple more pictures. And the fact that partial collapse on that side had occurred prior to the levee. And what that did was the weight of the explosion, or weight of the house all collapsing in on it, kept it from expanding out, and it found an easy path of least resistance to go up, thank God. Because had that went out, we had crews working on the Bravo and Delta north and south sides of that building protecting the exposures. Because at that point, that's what you're worried about mostly, is the exposures. You're not kind of senseless to concentrate your efforts on that. You obviously want to put that out, but you don't want expanding past the original building. So, like I said, that was the biggest. Those couple things are really what caused that expanded or very quick, rapid fire growth. So, let me see what else here. I just had a couple more pictures here, and this kind of ties into what I would get to later in my little speech here, but This is Brinkley. Now, he appears to just be walking there, but that's because he's exhausted from helping all of our guys move that yellow line, which doesn't look like much till you're picking it up and it's full of water. So luckily for us, our police are always, oh, I did it again, always willing to help. And Brinkley is a fireman from way back, so he's old school, so he knows what's up. But I just think, it's good that we have that relationship with him, and I'll get into that in a minute. This is another picture of him. Yeah, he's moving some of it. So you can see, even for him, they don't have the gear on we have, but he's still working pretty hard. It's funny because I listened to his body cam footage, and he's huffing. So I use that later in my discussions with him. But anyway, so I just say this, uncertainty is what makes this job really, really dangerous. And, I know people see what they think is just people sitting around the firehouse, and I'm not saying that doesn't occur. But when this occurs is when the problems are. So, I was having lunch with the town manager one time, way back when, when Cliff first started, and he actually asked me, he said, hey, what do you think, which profession thinks more dangerous, having done them both, police or fire? And then I said police, and I still stand by that because it's the frequency and the volatility that the police are involved in. They get that situation all the time. It's the frequency in which they're in it. But that Blevy is an example of what can happen here. Had they been there 10 minutes earlier when the smoke's just banking down and they pop that door and they got to go in there and see if there's anyone in there, that's when you really got to be nervous because it can flash. A lot of bad things can happen. You don't know how structurally, if it's sound. You can make your best determination by doing your 360 and your assessment, risk versus reward, right? But bad things do happen even when you do your best. Thank God we didn't experience that here, but it has happened on other fires, like on Goose Feather and Dogwood and things like that. So you do got to make those determinations. But I'd say this, just one last thing when I'm talking about the relationship, and that was kind of my point in pulling this up is, if we just take a minute to keep our thoughts and prayers on those guys that were killed out in Idaho, those guys were basically ambushed, those firefighters. They were brought in there and specifically hunted down like animals. Wasn't there, and you guys know me well enough to know that I don't critique and Monday Night Quarterback based on a media, report. But I will say this: in my own hometown and here, 99.9% of the time, the police are either on scene prior to us getting there or they're pulling up with us. And I think the guys with the guns even up the odds. And when you have that, maybe this wouldn't have occurred. I don't know if it would have. I just feel better with the guys with the guns with us. That way we're all on the same page. So we're very fortunate. I think the community is very fortunate that, we have that relationship with our police. Not everybody has that. I've worked in communities that don't have it, and it doesn't work out good. So I think we're very, very lucky here. But I know that's a lot, but any other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
We are very grateful that you guys work so well together, and especially in these very, very heated, and I mean temperature-wise, conditions. Yes, Rob?
Is it, according to code, can you actually have I heard that the fire was caused by a grill that may have been a grease fire on a deck? Well,
You mean this fire here?
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to know.
Okay.
It wasn't outside, I can tell you that right now, because I looked at the body cam footage and through the investigation, the fire was started inside. It was well involved inside before anybody got called.
Okay. Is it permissible to have, let's say in a rental unit, a grill on a wooden deck?
I'm actually not sure about the code. Wes, do you know the code on that? I would tell you this, me personally would never have any type of grilling device on a wooden deck. Because just think if you're, I can think of my own house. My daughter's boyfriend cooks all the time. I'm not the cook in the house. But when he's cooking, and if the grill's dirty, it catches on fire. 2 times this summer, as a matter of fact, we've had to get some baking soda and put it out. Well, if you panic and do something stupid, you're on a wooden deck, and that's, it's just not a good idea. You have that on the, out in the grass somewhere, But I actually don't, I can't speak to the code. I actually don't know it. So, and I'm sure if it's not in your code, it's probably not. Yeah, Kevin would know. Okay. So.
Thank you, Chief.
I would just say one other thing for the fireworks. Every single year, and it happened this year to us, it happened last year to us. This year, just luckily, one of the guys was out with the truck and noticed the fire. It was a garbage can out by the street, not under the house. But every single year, people do this. They set these fireworks off that they shouldn't be doing anyway, but they do them. and they put them in a garbage can, those things are so unstable, they're probably not out. I mean, if you really have to do fireworks, I'm not a big fireworks guy. I don't think you should be doing that, especially down here with how dry it is and things like that. But if you have to do it, if that's like your thing, put that stuff in a bucket of water and put it like out near the street. So if it does happen to catch on fire, even though it's in water, it's at the street and it's not going to hurt anything. But almost every year, almost every single year is a house fire from that. So,
Thanks. Appreciate that advice.
all right? Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thanks, Chief. Now we'll hear from our town manager. Good evening, Cliff.
Good evening, thank you. I was looking back, and it was 5 years ago at your July meeting that the council determined that we're going to initiate a beach nourishment project. And here we are 5 years later. That was the 22 project. We're here now talking about the 27 project. Ken Wilson will be at your August 5th meeting. He is going to present the preliminary findings of the survey that was done in June. And at that meeting, he'll present a contract for your consideration, same one from 5 years ago, which he can explain and answer any of the questions you may have. At your last meeting, you approved some pre-permitting consultation. That's occurred. You approved some soil, beach sediment sampling, so we could kind of get on a track to be able to better prepare for permitting this next project. The goal of the next project is to try and make it last 6 or 7 years. But I think the point is that there's progress that's being made. I've signed a change order. We have $35,000 budgeted for this type use, and I signed a change order for Ken to keep going. But at the August meeting, you'll have that contract. You'll be able to determine whether or not you're going to move forward. But moving forward means you got to get the information to be in a better position to decide what if, how a beach nourishment project might look for the town of Southern Shores in 27. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention to be prepared for that at the August meeting. It's not it will, if you approve it, it'll be a decision to approve starting the process of permitting and designing the next project. Yes, sir.
Are the other municipalities going through the same process?
Yes, sir.
right.
I believe Duck, I don't know about, let's see, Duck has approved the proposal. Town of Kitty Hawk and Killable Hills are expected to approve similar proposals this week. But I just wanted Ken to keep working, and I just didn't think now was the time, after having just signed a contract, to start the process to really get going yet.
Thanks,
But this
Cliff.
will keep us in line with those three towns. We're not going to miss a beat. Okay?
Thanks, sir. Attorney, you're up.
Thank you. I don't have any report from Mr. Hornthal.
Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. It's time for general public comment. Did someone sign up? It looks like they did, maybe. Thank you. Come on up, Debbie. Tell us your name and where you live. Good to see you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Debbie Swick. I live at 59 Deer Path Lane. That's in Southern Shores. I just wanted to bring to your attention something that happened to me, and I do not hold Wes or Kevin in any way, shape, or form responsible for this, but my neighbor complained about my fence being 2 inches over the 6-foot limit. It was put up 3 years ago. And I have an issue with this neighbor in particular. It's been going on for 4 years, and it's just going to keep coming, whatever it is. The 8-foot by 6 panel, 8 foot being the length, was 2 inches, 1/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. We live on a sandbar. I'm assuming that the sand settles. I do know that I had raked up behind it. I'm not saying that my neighbor didn't remove some of the soil, but I do think that a 2-inch deficit, there was one place that was 4 inches, I do apologize. I think it's ludicrous that I was addressed for something like this, when there's fences that are well over 2-3 feet in the town. I did not do this maliciously, I followed the rules, but after 3 years' time of this fence sitting up and several inches, I had to go through the expense of purchasing a ton of bedrock, actually, and mulch to correct it. And as Chief knows, I had heat stroke that day, and the ambulance had to come, et cetera. But I do wish that you would consider maybe putting some kind of a, statute or agenda in there that says, after so much time, a few inches is not something that needs to be corrected. It wasn't done maliciously on my part. It wasn't the whole 8-foot panel. And it was a 3-year-old fence. So, this was just a nasty neighbor being nasty. On another note, I am working with Ada Alvarez of the Civic Association to address the litter for next year's beach cleanup following and during 4th of July. It was atrocious. Those of us that sat at Chickahawk could witnessed about 1,000 to 1,200 people coming over the beach. The mess was horrific the next day. So we're hoping to work with the town of Southern Shores as well to come up with some kind of a task force that will clean it up that evening and the day after. So I look forward to working with you on that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Anybody else who didn't sign up, if you would like to do a public comment? Okay, moving on. We have no old business, so we'll move on to new business. We have a public hearing, so I'm going to hand it over to our attorney, Lauren, and counsel, this starts on page 7 of your packet.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Board. As you know, the public hearing for a proposed text amendment is on your agenda tonight. This is a legislative decision. It's not quasi-judicial. You have been through many of these and are familiar with the process. Before we open the hearing and begin working through, I just want to make sure we have the applicant who is attending by Zoom.
Legislative decision, it's not quasi-judicial,
So, Mr. Mina, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like that stopped. Okay. All right, we just want to make sure you could hear us. Mr. Mina is attending by Zoom, and so when it comes to his time, he'll be presenting that way. In regards to the legislative proceeding, it is in your discretion to set rules of procedure. I believe that for the last public hearing I was here for, we did a 10-minute presentation limit for each individual staff and anyone else who wanted to give comment. Is there any desire by the board to do that again this evening? You do have 2 public hearings, so it'd be appropriate to do them for both.
I'll move to have a 10-minute limitation on comments during the public hearing.
All right. Of course, you've had the agenda, and also Mr. Mina submitted additional documentation this morning, which was provided to you, and you've had an opportunity to review. So we'll, is there any, I guess there's a motion to the.
So we have a motion for 10 minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no.
All right, sounds good.
We have adopted that for
All
our
right,
procedure.
wonderful. So that 10-minute will not include questions from the board. Each person will get 10 minutes, and then if there's questions from the board, you can go from there. All right, so we'll go ahead and open public hearings in regards to ZTA 25-04 to consider a zoning text amendment application submitted by Anthony S. Mina to amend Town Code Section 36362B to establish a 90-day exemption for property owners in all zoning districts to submit any applications to the town to seek governance under the town code prior to June 6, 2023. Now that hearing is open, we will turn over to staff.
Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Womble. Good evening again, council. You all included in your packets was a copy of the application ZTA-2504. You also received a copy of the agenda summary from staff as well as a staff report. And I'm going to read the staff report into the record. So this application is ZTA-2504. The applicant is Anthony S. Mina, and the requested action is amendment of Town Code Section 36-362B. The applicant is proposing a ZTA to amend Town Code Section 36-362B to establish a 90-day exemption for property owners in all zoning districts to submit any applications to the town to seek governance under the town code prior to June 6, 2023. The proposed language would apply to property owners who own the property, were under contract to purchase the property, rented the property, or occupied the property on June 6, 2023. In July 2024, the applicant, Anthony S. Mina, submitted 2 applications to subdivide the property at 75 East Dogwood Trail that were denied. In October 2024, the Town Planning Board considered a variance application submitted by the applicant to allow the subdivision of 75 East Dogwood Trail that was denied. In January 2025, the applicant submitted another request to subdivide the property at 75 East Dogwood Trail that was denied. In March 2025, the Planning Board considered an appeal application submitted by the applicant to allow the subdivision of 75 East Dogwood Trail that was denied. In March 2025, the applicant submitted a ZTA to amend Town Code Section 36-414 to exempt himself and other affected property owners from having to comply with the lot width requirements established in ZTA 2303 that was adopted on June 6, 2023, which was denied by you all. The proposed amendment tonight to Section 36-362B is another attempt by the applicant to exempt himself and other affected property owners from having to comply with lot width requirements established in ZTA-2303 that was adopted on June 6, 2023. Town staff has determined that the proposed amendment is inconsistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive land use plan, and town staff recommends disapproval of the application. Please note that prior to adopting or rejecting any zoning amendment, the planning board or council shall adopt a statement describing whether its action is consistent with the adopted comprehensive land use plan and explaining why the planning board or council considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest. That statement is not subject to judicial review. The ZTA does not identify any comprehensive land use plan policies that are consistent with the proposed amendment. The Town Planning Board unanimously, 5-0, recommended disapproval of this application, the proposed amendment, at their June 16, 2025 Planning Board meeting, and they found that their action, which was to recommend disapproval to you all, was consistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive plan, that it was reasonable and in the public's interests. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Haskett this time? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to turn to the applicant, Mr. Mina. Can you hear us?
Hello, yes.
All right, so Mr. Mina, you have 10 minutes. The clerk is going to start that timer, and we'll try to let you know when you're getting close to that end. And just a reminder of the rules of decorum that the board has adopted, and please comply with those. So you can go ahead and the clerk.
There's a timeline.
Yes, 10 minutes.
I apologize. No, I have provided
Yep, the board.
of Southern Shores $75,000 for misconduct requiring correction with Town Code 36362B amendment that I would like on the screen of the television for the Southern Shores Town Council meeting on YouTube, please.
The council has the documents you are referring to for their review, and the clerk will attempt to do her best to pull it up, but your time has started, so please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, I have those on SaveSouthernShores.com if you need another place to find those documents. My name is Anthony. I am a property owner in Southern Shores. I am not a friend, colleague, client, partner, student, or have any other relationship with any of Southern Shores employees board members, or attorneys. I also am not working with any ops in the area, like, for example, like an M-op or Black Ops or Soundfront Ops. I'm not working with anyone that matter. I just wanted to, we're aware of all those things because I'm going to get to the
All right, Mr. Mina, we're having a
point
hard
in my
time hearing
presentation.
you. Mr. Mina, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're having a hard time hearing you. So I'm not sure, are you on the phone or are you walking around? If you could just maybe talk directly into the phones, we want to make sure that the board can hear you. So give us a test.
I was need to start over. Start the time. I'll start over.
We still cannot hear you.
Would you like to restart the time and I will start over?
Yes, we'll be happy to make sure we adjust your time for the technology issue, but we want to make sure we can hear you. So can you talk directly into the phone?
Yes, I am talking directly into the phone. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I think that's better. All right, go. All right,
Okay.
we've adjusted the time, so go ahead.
All right, I am just changing locations. Okay, I apologize. I was saying that my name is Anthony Mina. I am a property owner in Southern Shores. I am not a friend, colleague, client, partner, student, or have any other type of relationship with any Southern Shores employees, board members, or their attorneys. I also am not working with any ops in the area, like an M-op, or an op associated with the number 4, or Black Ops, or Soundfront Ops. I'm not working with anyone named Matt on any type of matter. What I'm doing here is trying to get Southern Shores to correct wrongdoing that was caused by Wes Haskett hiding a zoning amendment he proposed from my family when you're purchasing our property and cost us to pay $75,000 more than we would have paid if Wes Haskett was not hiding the zoning amendment from us. Now, I've provided a timeline of Southern Shore's $75,000 misconduct requiring correction with Town Code 36-362B amendment, which I believe is on the screen in this room right now. Possibly, but I can't tell from my computer. Wes Haskett filed a lot width amendment on March 31st, 2023. The lot width amendment was subject to Town Code 36360, where the planning board acts as the board of adjustment and notices are required pursuant to section 36-362 by mail and at the property posted notice. This is all stated in section 36-365, which says the board shall hear and decide all matters which upon which it is required to pass under any statute or ordinance that regulates land use. The Board of Adjustments heard Wes Haskett's zoning amendment on May 15th, 2023, and passed the matter to Town Council, which Town Council also passed and adopted. So, Wes Haskett was asked on May 1st, 2023, following question by email. Could you please tell me anything that would prevent me from subdividing the 75 East Dogwood Trail lot so I could build another house? I do not own the property, but have made an offer on the property. This is Exhibit 4 of my application. Wes Haskett responded to 4 emails during the month of May 2023 without disclosing the material fact that a lot width amendment was filed on March 31st, 2023. Where there is a duty to speak, fraud can be practiced by silence, as well as by a positive misrepresentation. So what West Haskett was doing during the month of May is called fraud in the state of North Carolina and is not permitted in Southern Shores Town's government in their code of ethics. Town code, West Haskett did not notify property owners of the May 15th, 2023 hearing regulating land use with a lot width amendment filed to prevent lot subdivisions and lied about the May 15th, 2023 hearing, which you will find in Exhibit A and Exhibit F, where West Haskett claimed that there was not a hearing on May 15th, 2023 on the lot width amendment, when there clearly was. Watch YouTube videos of the meeting or get the town minutes. So West Haskett's caught in another lie there. Another reason West Haskett should not be working for the town of Southern Shores.
Mr. Mina, please keep your comments
Yeah.
to the zoning text amendment. You have about 5 minutes to go.
The previous owner of 75 East Dogwood Trail, who West Haskett previously communicated with about the 75 East Dogwood Trail lot subdivision, negotiated additional $75,000 from my family, as West Haskett was hiding the proposed lot width amendment. And the only reason my subdivision application is denied is because of what West Haskett was hiding. West Haskett refused to answer questions about how property owners were notified of the March 31st, 2023 lot width amendment on June 12th, 2023, and emailed a response that stated, "At this point, you should direct your questions to our town attorney, Phil Kornthal," and included Mayor Mooring in his response. So the mayor has also been aware of this problem since June 12th, 2023, indicating that notification requirements were not complied with for the June 6, 2023 lot width amendment. West Haskett and Town Council were served with the Dare County Superior Court order requiring a complete record of the variance hearing record within 30 days of December 18th, 2023, but refused to comply. Federal crime laws prohibit tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant at U.S. Code subsections 1512C 1 and 2, which states, whoever corruptly alters, destroys, mutilates, or conceals a record, document, or other object, or attempts to do so with the intent to impair the object's integrity or availability for use in official proceeding, or otherwise obstructs, influences, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. On the SaveSouthernShores.com website, you will find that the Southern Shores Town Council was served with the order requiring the records from the October 21st, 2024 variance hearing to be provided to Dare County Superior Court and have refused to comply, like West Haskett has also refused to comply. In addition to Section 36362B not being complied with notification records, not being complied with the notification requirements, Town Code 36-414B also requires posted notice to be posted at property subject to a zoning amendment prior to the amendment being made, which did not occur at 75 East Dogwood Trail. I have a public records request, which was included with the timeline of Southern Shore $75,000 misconduct requiring correction with Town Code 36-362B, which proves that Southern Shores does not have meanings in their zoning code for the words all, which means all property received, or all matters upon which it is required to pass under law or statute that regulate land use need to be heard by the Board of Adjustments under Chapter or Section 36-360, requiring notice to be mailed and posted. And Southern Shores does not have meanings giving the words "and where" in Town Code 36-414B, the meaning "if." So there
Mr.
is
Mina,
not
you
one
have-
single hole
Mr.
in
Mina,
my
you have
case
1 minute.
that-
You have 1 minute, so you might
Okay,
want to
thank you.
begin wrapping it up.
All right. There's not one single hole in my fraud case against West Haskett where he can claim that these words have meanings not found in dictionaries available to the public and taught in Dare County schools. Southern Shores zoning code is written using the English language, and you are not permitted to use Southern Shores zoning code and claim there's meanings with definitions not found in English language. If you have any questions about where a hole possibly could be, please ask me, because the way I see things is you're in violation of federal law by not providing the Dare County Superior Court my records from the variance hearing, which were ordered from Southern Shores.
All right, that's your time,
West
Mr. Mina.
Haskett
That's
is in
your-
violation of fraud.
Mr. Mina, that's your time.
Yeah, I'm finishing.
That's your time.
Thank you, I'm finishing.
All right, does the board have any questions for Mr. Mina?
No.
No.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mina. All right, having, did anyone sign up? Okay, I don't believe anyone in the public signed up to provide additional comment. Is there anyone here tonight who wanted to provide comment on this, for this public hearing? All right, there's no one else here and no one else who has signed up. So at this time, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the council for deliberation. And just remember the comments of staff to adopt that consistency statement with whatever action you take tonight.
Thank you, Lauren. Council, does anyone have any discussion points they would like to start with?
No, but I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we deny ZTA 25-4 and affirm that the action of denying this proposed ZTA is consistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive land use plan. It's reasonable and in the public's best interest.
Council, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone want to discuss any further the motion as presented? Seeing no interest, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please say no. Motion carries.
All right,
The ZTA is denied.
thank you.
Thank you all. Moving on to our next item on our agenda is a second public hearing. So I'm going to hand it back over to our attorney, Lauren.
Thank you.
And this is on page 34, Council, sorry, of your packet.
Correct.
Right.
So thank you, council. Again, this is legislative. You know the procedure. You've already addressed procedures for tonight's public hearings earlier. So we'll be limiting to 10 minutes for anyone who wants to give comment and presentation. If the board is ready to proceed, we can go ahead and open the public hearing for the LGC resolution to consider the town's issuance of a debt obligation in the amount of approximately $4.9 million pursuant to installment financing contract for the purpose of financing Southern Shores Fire Department building located at 15 South Dogwood Trail, Southern Shores. So with that, the hearing is open, and I will turn it over to staff.
So the previous contract the town operated under for fire protection services required the town to pay the debt service if a fire station was ever built. Of course, that occurred, and the town paid the debt service beginning in 2019 directly to Southern Shores Volunteer Fire Department, Inc., who in turn paid that debt to the bank. Since that organization no longer exists, the contract also says that the town will take over all the assets of the fire department, including the fire station. Now, the North Carolina Local Government Commission requires the town, whenever we carry debt over $1 million, we have to submit an application for their approval. Part of that application is that the public has an opportunity to weigh in at a public hearing. The debt service will stay the same, the same payment we've been paying. The interest rate stays the same. The only difference is the loan is now in our name. And so you've got this resolution before you that authorizes the town manager to sign the documents associated with the loan after attorney review. And after that, we will also need, if you approve, we'll need a motion to approve the minutes of this hearing immediately after. And the reason for that is we need to make the August 5th application deadline, and you won't meet until that night. And so we need the minutes to be part of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. So council, have any questions for staff?
No questions.
No questions?
I don't think.
Did anyone sign up? Is there anyone here to give comment on this public hearing and this agenda item? If so, please come forward. Okay. There's no one signed up and no one interested in giving any comment on this, so with that, we can close the public hearing and turn it back over to the council for deliberation and votes.
Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. So just to note, the interest rate is 3.15%, which almost anyone in the room would be happy about if they were getting a loan for especially $4.8 million.
Right.
So this has actually turned out to be a really good process because we get to just assume the loan that was established many years ago when the interest rates were quite significantly lower. So we need to make a resolution, make a motion to adopt, I'll go ahead and do it, adopt resolution authorizing the filing of an application for approval of a financing agreement authorized by the North Carolina General Statutes and authorize our town manager to provide any support for this process that is needed. Does that do it?
That will do it. And,
Okay. Is
when
there
you're-
a second to my attempt at a motion?
I'll second motion.
Okay. Are there any questions or discussion?
And our loan payment remains the same.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have an approved resolution.
Now you'll need to approve the minutes.
Right, so we want, can you do that?
And it would be appropriate, I think, that if you're going to approve the minutes, that you approve the minutes as amended. So the minutes in your packet did not have the council members who made the motions. And so if your motion is to approve the minutes with the council members who made the motions added to, the clerk will make those amendments and then those will be approved.
I would amend the minutes to reflect that the mayor made the motion to adopt resolution 2025-0703, and subsequently, I would make a motion to adopt amended minutes.
Second.
We have a motion is second. Council, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have those required motions. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I have one other.
And then there's one other item that the town manager wants us to address.
There were 3 other loans that the fire department had. One was for some air packs. One was for a utility truck. Both of those have been paid off. The third was for a ladder truck. The amount remaining for that is $665,840.71. That interest rate is 4.948. You've already, in this year's budget, you've already budgeted the payment. But to satisfy the auditor, I just would like to have a motion authorizing me to sign these loan documents.
So moved.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion about the ladder truck? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have a motion to authorize the town manager to sign ladder truck here in Sewer. Thank you. Okay. Any other loans out there for the fire department that we need to take care of? Chief, you got one?
Yeah, yeah.
We're all done.
We got all the vehicles, right?
Well, if you find one that you didn't find before, just let us know and we'll take care of it. Okay. In all kidding aside, based on how we started off the meeting tonight with your presentation, Chief, thank you for all that you guys do for this town and this community. Can't express my gratitude often enough. Thank you. All right, moving on. Number 7 under new business is on page 50 in your packet, Council. It's the Historic Landmarks Commission appointment, and Wes is going to handle this for us.
Good evening again, council. How are you all tonight? So the next item on your agenda is terms and appointments for Historic Landmark Commission. There are currently, there's one vacant regular member position and one vacant alternate member position. The regular member position became vacant following former HLC member Michael Garasino. His resignation on May 17. He moved out of the state, so he's no longer eligible to serve on the commission. So we do have one application on file from Jennifer Adams Falconer. That was included in your packets. So we are recommending that she be appointed as a regular member instead of the alternate member on the town's Historic Landmarks Commission. This would be for a term that's already set, it's already started. So we are recommending that the term begin immediately, and it would expire on December 6, 2027.
Very good. Thanks, Wes. Any
Thank
questions for Wes?
No, but I know Jennifer. She's a local builder. She's one of the few female builders on the Outer Banks. She's very, very interested in historic preservation of our flat tops and other older buildings. So it's my pleasure to move that we appoint Jennifer Adams Falconer as a regular member on the town's Historic Landmarks Commission, beginning her term immediately and expiring on December 6, 2027.
Thank you, Paula, and I'll second that motion. I just want to say thank you to Jennifer. And I enjoyed reading the notes that you added to your application and some of your history. And it just, it's a very important job, and we appreciate you stepping up. And that's all I'll say about that. Any other discussion, council? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. We have a new member on our Historic Landmarks Commission. Thank you. Next, on page 55, we're talking about planning board appointments, and I think Wes is going to handle that as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. There are a few more moving parts with these appointments. So with respect to our planning board, the appointment terms assigned to regular board members Jan Collins and Tony DiBernardo expired on June 30th. Ms. Collins has indicated that she would like to serve another 3-year term, so we're glad to hear that. Former planning board member Tony DiBernardo, he notified town staff when I inquired and asked him if he was interested in serving another 3-year term. He had told me, or he indicated that he gave it careful consideration and decided not to extend his membership on the planning board for another 3-year term. So we currently have 2 files on application from citizens who are interested in filling those vacancies to serve on the planning board, and they are from Ms. Natalie Painter and Mr. Richard Filling. We recommend appointment of first alternate member Michael Zahner as a regular member on the town planning board with a term that begins immediately and expires on June 30, 2028. Also recommend appointment of alternate Charles Reese. He's currently second alternate. Move him to first alternate since Michael Zahner may be moving up to regular membership with a term that begins immediately and expires on June 30, 2027. and appointment of either Miss Natalie Painter or Mr. Filling as the second alternate member to fill the second alternate member position that Mr. Reese, if you all make these appointments, would vacate. And Ms. Painter or Mr. Filling's terms would begin immediately and expire on June 30, 2027.
And regarding Jan Collins as the current member wanting to continue to be a member, do we need to include in our motion the council approve that, or is she just automatically?
You all need to include in the motion reappointment of Ms. Collins into another 3-year term.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. All right, so we got lots of moving parts.
It is
Okay,
a lot of
we can
moving
handle
parts,
it.
yes, ma'am.
We can do this. Okay. Council, any questions for Wes? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Discussion. Anybody want to?
Is it all one motion,
It can be.
or
Or
do
you
we
could
just
separate.
separate parts? I'd do separate parts.
You want to start out with Ms. Collins?
And,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do 3 motions.
So we'll start off with a motion to reappoint Jan Collins as a regular member of the planning board.
So
Make-
moved.
Moved and seconded?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Done. Second motion. Somebody else want to go?
I'll make a motion to appoint the first alternate, Michael Zahner, as a regular member on the town planning board with a term that begins immediately and expires on June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say no. Second motion carries.
We need,
All right, we might be up to 4 motions. Okay.
right, we're up to 4 motions. Yeah.
The third motion would be concerning
Charlie Reese.
second alternate Charlie Reese to move to first alternate member of the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no. 3 for 3. All right. Last one, we have 2, which is, an abundance of wonderful people who want to serve as a second alternate member on the town planning board, Ms. Natalie Painter and Mr. Richard Filling. Any discussion about that at this point, council?
I think we're pretty lucky to have 2 highly qualified people
Highly qualified
wanting to be on the planning board.
as an alternate
And
member.
as an alternate
As a
member,
second
I think
alternate,
it's just a tough pick, because they're both eminently qualified, based on what we've read here
Mhm.
and everything.
I
So,
agree. Anybody else want to comment?
It is tough because I think they're both qualified. I would move to appoint Natalie as the first alternate member, or second alternate member, and my reasoning for that, I'll explain if we want to discuss it.
Okay, so we have a motion to appoint Natalie. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so let's do a discussion.
It's very much of a flip of a coin. I think they're both qualified and would serve the town well. Natalie is a young professional, business owner, young family in town. I think the perspective she would bring hasn't been brought as thoroughly to the planning board thus far. So that's my reasoning.
Okay.
Sticking it for the young professionals.
Sticking it.
She's younger than I am.
Is that because you're
She's
against
younger
your
than I
motion?
am.
Is that discriminatory?
Yes, it is.
I mean,
I'm
you and I are
sure.
sitting here, we're going, really?
It's hard to pick a reason. They're both.
It's very hard.
Would be excellent, so.
Yeah, I know, it's really,
But the experience on both of them is just, is really, really good.
I know, this
You
is-
know, and who knows what'll happen, but we
Well,
got somebody
and
out
she's
there
been
too.
on the planning board in another town.
KDH.
In
yeah,
KDH, yep.
yeah. And she came to the right town. She's moving to
That
the
was
right.
the
Yeah, she
Okay.
did. She
Yeah.
moved in the
Made a
right
good
direction,
decision.
as all young
moving up.
professionals discover, so.
I don't think we can say that, can we? Yeah.
We're just breaking all kinds of rules.
Very good.
yeah.
Ready for a vote?
Are we prepared to vote?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Say no. Motion carries. And I just want to say to Richard, who's here with us this evening, your application will stay on file, and we appreciate your interest in serving the town, and please, no hurt feelings, I hope. Okay, moving on.
Everybody stayed in there through a couple cycles till they get to that alternate.
Yeah,
so.
and there's going to be some openings coming up, so,
Yeah.
all right. Council business. I'll start, because I never start. All I want to say is our next meeting is on August the 5th,
Yeah.
and I do want to read something that was sent to me that you may have read, on Nextdoor, or maybe not. So if you haven't, I'm going to read it to you. Dear Mayor Maury, this is from Jim and Maura McElwee. I hope I'm saying their name correctly. They live at 9 First Avenue. We are pleased to share with you the great help we received from our first responders after a recent car accident. As we arrived Tuesday afternoon, June 17th, we were struck from behind on Duck Road at Chickahawk Trail. Fortunately, we were not severely injured, but the Southern Shores Police and Fire Departments, along with the Dare County EMS, arrived quickly and took excellent care of us on the scene. Our SUV was not drivable, and we were concerned about the 3 weeks' worth of provisions that we had no way of transporting. After we were checked by EMS and the accident paperwork was completed, the fire and police chiefs and the EMS quick response officer loaded our belongings into their vehicles and drove the final mile to our home, and then unloaded everything for us.
That's amazing.
Their care and actions were so heartwarming and made a horrible situation just a little better. So blessed to be a part of this community. I just want to say 1,000 million times, thank you, Chief Limbacher. I wish the police chief was here, but this is just another example of why our community is so special. Thank you. Okay, I'm
That's
done.
amazing.
Thank you for sharing.
Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to go next?
Yes, the main update that I would have for y'all is after I've been out of town for most of June, we are re-picking up the entry corridor meeting. We have a meeting penciled for July 15th at 9 a.m., and that will be confirmed shortly and then put out through notice. So.
Very good. Paula?
I don't have anything to report, but I will say I've talked to several people in the community, and we were discussing disaster alerts. And I was being asked questions like, how would I know if we were having a wildfire or we were having a flood? Hurricanes we get more advance notice of. But if there was a need to immediately evacuate all or part, and I guess I'll concentrate on Southern Shores, how would they know? And what I discovered in talking to these folks, that a number of them are not signed up for the 911 emergency alerts. So I hope there's no objection, but I'd like to see the town do some outreach to residents to say, make sure that you're signed up for these emergency alerts, because I think some of us that have been around for a while are, but we've got a lot of new residents who may not have really taken advantage of that. And I think, these last floods in Texas just showed the need to have alerts. And God forbid if we had to evacuate Southern Shores at the same time the Northern Currituck communities are evacuating, we'd have serious problems. So the more heads up we have, the better. So I don't know how best to do that. I guess I can talk to Cliff, whether it would be emails but something to say, make sure you're taking advantage of this community resource.
Thank you, Paul. It's a great idea. Mark?
Well, the good news is that the tour board, that April was a great month, and despite a lot of the concern and angst that this was going to be an unpredictable year, things are looking up. And indications are that May was a good month. I mean, we're always 3 months behind because collections, they take your money right away, but it takes a while to get it reported, when you're paying tax. But indications are, and all you have to do is look outside, but here we are, July 4th, and a lot of traffic, that it won't be as bad as what everybody thought. I mean, we were up 18% in collections in April, and moved our year-to-date up to 7.64%, and that was just for occupancy, and then people are definitely eating out when they're here. And it was up 7.5%, and year-to-date, we're up almost 9% on meals and collections over the previous year. So last year was a good year. So, you know, everybody's been concerned about the resetting after the COVID years. It's still a popular place to come to. It's still on the top 5 vacation spots in the country. It's the Outer Banks. You can either love it or hate it. And I happen to love it. I think most people here do. And we seem to be dealing with the traffic normally. I haven't had one single complaint from anybody this year. I probably shouldn't say that out loud. Maybe Cliff has and he doesn't tell us. So, but anyway, it's looking better than it was 2 months ago. February, we were all wringing our hands at the tour board and saying, what are we going to do? And we did actually put a lot of money into more advertising, TikTok, Facebook, and all the medias, the social media places that you can connect with people. It's for real. So anyway, that's where we are. So let's hope it keeps up, because that does help us, all the citizens who live here year-round. Lowers our taxes, keeps them low.
Thanks, Mark. Rob?
Yeah.
I have 4 items. I'm the town's representative on the anniversary, 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There's a whole host of activity at the national, state, county, and getting all the way down to the town level. I'm happy to report that there's a thing called a passport program. I don't know if you've ever seen these things. It looks like you go around and you get your, either kids or adults, you get your passport stamped, and it may be physically something like that, depending on the cost, or it may be virtual. But I'm happy to report that Southern Shores did make the cut.
All right.
And Southern Shores made the cut with our flat top here on Skyline Drive. It's a historic piece of architecture. So there will be a sign that will be mounted up there, and we'll decide whether it's going to be on a building or on a separate little post out front. That somebody with a QR code on it, that somebody can come up, and it will give a 2 or 3 paragraph explanation. And I've chatted with Sheila and others. We want to make sure we have that verbiage, and that we're going to be part of things. You know, I mean, there's going to be Jockey's Ridge. There's going to be all sorts of historical things here, and so on and so forth. So for the town of Southern Shores to kind of make the cut, that's a pretty big deal. Secondly, as the town's rep on Current TV, there's probably about, in the last quarter, there's about 50 different videos produced, all around the county, and including all the towns, Dare County, College of the Albemarle, and, you know, even things like drones on the Outer Banks. So they've got a whole host of different productions out there. I encourage you to go and take a look at some of these things. You can search through. And lately, we do have a little icon on our homepage that looks like Current TV. And you click on that, and it'll take you right to it. And there's more, the actual videos won't buffer as much. So they've got more throughput, a little bit more horsepower behind things. Let's see. There is, I dropped in and saw Cliff, and we talked about getting announcements out to citizens. I always go and look at the little kiosk in front of the fire department. And I take, you know, they say, make sure that you clean your grill, you know, your barbecuing grill, and things of that nature. And I'd like the town to possibly consider putting a kiosk in front of our town hall. We are at an intersection here where you can post a whole host of different things. If it's about, you know, exactly what Paula said about, you know, wildfires and notification, and so sign up for, you know, notification. You drive by there, you see it. So some consideration to that. And lastly, town manager and I don't know if any of you have actually remember Senator Byrd. He'd always used to carry a pocket version of the U.S. Constitution in his pocket Well, I thought of, why don't we have all the vital statistics for Southern Shores in one place? And have it like maybe a little tri-fold out and whatever else. So we've actually come up with one. And maybe this is a subject for another item. I showed it to the mayor, but it includes, we call it an information card, vital statistics. On one of the fold-out pages, it includes things like by the numbers, the population, number of housing units, miles of streets, miles of beach, miles of canal. Then there is a pie chart, where the money goes. And it talks about infrastructure, administration, sanitation, so on and so forth. Our operating budget, and then all the contact information for the town council and the town staff. And then total property value, and then where the money comes from. And that's it. So this would be available on the town website, it'd be available in hard copy to give to citizens, because people just want to know some of those basic vital statistics here in Southern Shores. So you'll probably hear more about that in the future. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob. I think we've come to the end. Anybody else have anything? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time.